cannot. It's gonna be just like this. I cannot show it right now because if I do it,
Okay, so right now, which one does it look like?
this is what it's looking right now. This is what people see.
Okay. Oh, so they see this one outside the door.
Yeah, until
Okay,
it starts.
perfect.
This is what they're seeing. Once we hit live, we're gonna go to this. Nice.
So good, and we can see
Exactly.
the screen and everything.
Nice feature.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay.
Gus, welcome back. How are you? It came out well, no?
Yeah.
So cool, right?
Very nice. Very nice.
So exciting.
Very nice. You know something I forgot to mention yesterday?
Hold on. Gene, I introduce you to Gus.
Hi.
Gus does
Nice to meet you.
Gene is our board president.
Thank you.
Gus did all of our graduations, the live stream.
Oh,
He did
they're
the live
beautiful.
stream yesterday for
Well
the.
done.
I actually interviewed him randomly in the middle of the live stream. So
Yeah.
he was just telling me something.
Yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention is that one thing that I learned in all these years coming to the Hebrew Academy, every morning I say model.
Really?
Yes. Even though I have no idea what it means, but you mention it. And I Google it.
Oh, at the Siddur.
I don't know where it was,
It was at
but,
the
you,
Siddur.
but you said it. So ever since when I opened my eyes, yeah, that's something I learned.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
These new doors are amazing.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. They're really nice. Well done.
Kids can be creative when you give them, right? They were so into it.
Yeah, they were.
They
Yeah,
were
no, I saw the video.
they were actually working
Yeah.
for an hour and a half, 2
Yeah.
hours.
Was it only 8th grade?
Only 8th grade. We wanted to do a trial to see only 8th grade, but other grades could
We're on
have done
camera right now.
Oh.
Video,
We still
audio
got it
also?
that way.
No, not
Oh,
audio.
okay.
No, it was well done.
That's good. I like it. Thank you again. You're not going in there, are you? Afterwards?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. There's an event in there after. Because there was one across the street yesterday as well. Hanukkah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a really meaningful event. It's so amazing to have our parents on campus in real life. So thank you for joining us today. Chag Sameach. We have a very special presentation for you today. Just before we do, I wanted to introduce Elchanan Shagalov. He's our development chair from the board of directors, and he's a parent in our school representing every division in our schools, from early childhood, elementary, middle, and high school. So he's a parent. You might know one or two of his children, of his 5 children. So I'd like to introduce Elchanan and speak a little bit about our Lead Like a Warrior campaign.
Thank you, Susie. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. And I echo what Susie said. It's amazing to be on campus, to see all the parents back. So I'd like to take a moment to speak about the Lead Like a Warrior campaign, matchathon that's going on at the moment. So right now, obviously, Hanukkah is a time of giving. And I know that people, at least from people that I've spoken with, are budgeting right now their year end for 2021, until the end of the year. And this is an extremely, extremely important campaign for the school. We're raising $800,000 for the 8 nights of Hanukkah. And the funds from this campaign primarily go towards assisting students with scholarships for the school. One thing that I'm not sure that everybody is aware of is that Hebrew Academy, a large number of families at Hebrew Academy, over 50%, receive some form of scholarship. So this is a great time to make everybody aware. And we asked, I'm sure that on the school chats, the parent chats, there have been links that have been sent out. You've probably been pinged by friends. And if you'd like to as well, turn to friends and family that you know and forward on the links to them to try and help us reach the goal. The matchathon is going to be open until the end of Hanukkah, which is Monday evening, and we really appreciate your help. It's for our children, for our families here at Hebrew Academy. So happy Hanukkah to everyone, and we look forward to you helping us achieve the goal. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Elchanan. I want to mention also the beautiful decorations behind me were part of this campaign. Yesterday on campus, we had 8th graders working on a menorah maker fair. It was live streamed, and you'll be able to see the recording if you missed it. They designed these beautiful creations with the help of our Rabbi Michael Cohen under his direction to combine a lot of the Judaics together with the STEM and arts that they're learning. It was a really amazing program where they had to have attention to every detail, including the halacha, so bringing all the studies together. Also tomorrow, we're going to have the Festival of Lights for early childhood if you can't attend in person, and it will also be live streaming in the morning. So please join us for that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our amazing PTSA co-chairs, Diana Stragowitz and Susie Wagner. And they're going to tell you a little bit more about our speaker today and programs that they have coming up.
Hi, everyone. We wanted to finally officially meet everyone. Things are hopefully getting back to normal, hopefully, in the world. And now it's so exciting to see everyone on campus. And we have so many exciting things in store, a lot of fun events that we're planning. And we wanted to engage all of you to hopefully become more involved. First, we want to thank our Hanukkah chairs, Lindsay Schottenstein, Chani Gottlieb, and Miriam Hoffman, who helped us put together all of these fun Hanukkah festivities for the kids this week. They had sufganiyot, they had exciting things happening, and they also put together the Hanukkah Gelt for our amazing teachers and staff. And it was an incredible initiative, and we're so thankful to you guys for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you. We have had it's been a weird year, but we've managed to, put together some events, a few things so far this year, like the apple pies for Rosh Hashanah. We had a sold out, very successful challah bake. And we've done a lot of other community-minded things, like the meet and greets for each grade. So we're very proud of those things, and we have a lot more events coming up for the year. There's a sign-up sheet going around with all the events that we have planned. So you can sign up to volunteer for those. And if you want to be involved in any way, you can always get in touch with us. Our information is on the website, I think. Yes, our information's on the website, or you know where to find us. We're always around. But yeah, so anyway, also stay tuned for on the chairs. You're gonna see the Rosh Chodesh, the women's Rosh Chodesh Shirim, taught by Dr. Debbie Stone, who's going to start today. So you're at the first one, but stay tuned. We're gonna do this every month. It's going to be. She's an amazing speaker. So now, please welcome Dr. Debbie Stone. She is our the director of the High School Judaic Studies and also community engagement. And she's amazing and very engaging.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see people coming out in the morning. I know there's good coffee, so I think that's helping us get out of bed in the morning and get over here. I think it's especially wonderful for our kids to see parents coming to campus to learn in the morning. That's a wonderful modeling situation that we have going here, and it's a pleasure to have you here and to start to meet people and learn from you and learn with you and learn together. And we hope to do this, as Diana said, more regularly in line with Rosh Chodesh. We're a little bit early, but it's Shabbos, so we're nearly there now. Who would have thought we would be there already? So a few thoughts about Hanukkah. Please don't be alarmed. I just like to show you that I'm not making it up. So I always bring a source sheet. They're around you on the tables, on the chairs, excuse me. And feel free to follow along with it. I won't go too heavily inside, but I'd just like you to have a reference of what I'm saying. So I think Hanukkah is one of the most beautiful, friendly, festive festivals that we have over the year, and everyone looks forward to Hanukkah. It's a time of year where it gets cold, it gets dark, and we're looking for a boost. This year it comes into kind of the time of Thanksgiving, sometimes it's the time of Christmas, and it's always just a lovely festive feel as the rest of the world gets cold and we just get less hot. There's a time to kind of be festive and enjoy and spend time together. And I think for all of us, when we think of Hanukkah, our first initial association, if anyone says the word Hanukkah to you, what's your first initial association? You can throw it out, I'm not gonna bite. Lights, exactly, everyone says it. Lights, oil, donuts, most of us say those things. And really what's interesting about Hanukkah is when we read the tefillah of Al HaNisim, which we say every day in the davening, and we say every day in the benching. We look at the Al HaNisim and it talks about all the different things that we're really celebrating in Hanukkah. And if we scroll through it, it talks about really what the festival of Hanukkah is about, and yet we seem to be skipping the main crux of the festival of Hanukkah and focusing on that oil at the end of the story, and as Jews do, focus on how we can make a good meal out of it. So I don't know who's gone on a festive trip looking for the best sufganiyot around. It's definitely my first thing to do around Hanukkah. I'm searching for the best dairy donut. I'm not plugging to anyone, but I have found. I'll let you know afterwards. But there's certainly a sense that we've focused very much on the oil. We focus very much when we bring the family around the candles. We're looking at the miracle of light. And really interestingly enough, when we look at the tefillah of Al HaNisim, it talks about much more than the lights. And let's just take a look at it together to see what really the story was about. It talks about in the days of Matisyahu, there was the Chashmonayim, Uvanav, Kasha'amda, Malchut, Yavan, Harasha, Al Amcha Yisrael. This is what was really happening. The Greeks stood up against the Jewish people, and I've bolded it for you. What was their aim? What was their goal? Lahashkicham Toratecha, to make the Jewish people forget or to move away from the Torah, and to stop them from practicing Jewish life. And the whole story unfolds that there was this miraculous war between the Greeks and the Jews, and eventually, as a result of a great miracle, the Jewish people managed to overcome a massive, huge enemy, and were able to celebrate this victory by going into the Beit HaMikdash and light some candles. And when we think about what the story is about, we really started to do something very strange as a people, and we've taken one symbol of this story and blown it up to almost overreach and overcome what the focus of the story is about. How many of us, when we think really about Hanukkah on a nightly basis, when we light those candles, think to ourselves, how lucky we are that those Jewish people overcame the Greeks and we can learn the Torah? I don't think most of us do that. Most of us sit around saying, now which donut shall I have tonight? And because we're focused on the oil, we look at the lights, and in fact, it gets even more confusing because it's not just a cultural thing, it's actually become a halachic thing. When we think about the laws of Hanukkah are all encompassed on the lights and the candles and the oil. Take a look at the Gemara in Shabbos, the second source on the sheet. The rabbis teach all the laws of Hanukkah, how you're supposed to light the candles. What does it say? Tanu Rabbanan mitzvah Hanukkah ner ishu veto. The main mitzvah is that a person should have a candle in their house on Hanukkah. One candle, one light per house. You're going to make sure that there's a mitzvah of Hanukkah. But as we know, that's not typically our custom. And Mahadrin, ner lechol echad v'echad. A nicer way to do the mitzvah is that everybody lights a candle. So I don't know how many people have the custom that each child in the house has a menorah, husband, wife has a menorah. I don't know, everybody has different customs. I grew up in a home where the men lit the candles but not the women. In my home now we all light candles, but everyone has different customs. And the reason why there's an idea that everybody lights the candles is because it's considered to be a mahadrin, a nicer way to do the mitzvah, that each person lights a candle. And then it continues and it says there's a difference in opinion of how we should light the candles, and we all know what do we do. Each night we add an extra light, that by the last night we have 8 lights. So I think this question of why are we so focused on these lights, even from a halachic perspective, even from the way we practice Jewish law, has to be asked. Why are we focused so heavily on this oil and on the lights? And of course, to make sure that we have something to eat, we're focused on eating latkes and oily foods. Where is the focus on what the real miracle of Hanukkah is supposed to be about? Where have we lost that connection between the two? And have we really lost it, or is it really there, as we will find out? So I'm going over to the second page if you are still with me. But like I said, it's really just a little bit of a reference. So let's think a little bit about light. The first reference to light in the Torah is always a good way to look at the first reference of a particular word and see where it holds, and then try to go from there. So the first reference is in Bereshit, a familiar pasuk that most of us are familiar with because it's the first one. So the kids come home and we're familiar with it. Bereshit bara Elokim, Hashem creates the world, the heavens and the earth, and he sees that the world is empty and there's nothing there, and there's choshech al panei tehom, there's complete darkness and emptiness. And the Spirit of God is hovering over the face of the water. Lots of commentary, lots to understand there. But the first time we see the relevant word light, Vayomer Elokim yehi or. Hashem says, let there be light, and there was light. And one of the things about this particular light is this is not the creation of the sun and the moon and the stars, because that happens on day 4. So this light is a very specific light, a very special light. And the Bereshit Rabbah, the Midrash, comes to comment and explains that this light was a different light. It wasn't maybe not even necessarily a physical light, but it was a different type of light. What does the Midrash say? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, it says, Or Shebar HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'Yom Rishon, this special light that Hashem made on the first day, Adam Tzofa Umabit Mitbo Misof Ha'olam Va'ad Sofo. It was a person was able to see from one end of the world to another. Now you can take this literally, but sometimes we don't take Midrashim literally. But when you're able to see something, what does it mean? mean? It means you're able sometimes to understand something. This light was almost like a gift of vision, a gift of wisdom, that the human being was able to see from one end of the world to another. I personally like to take this metaphorically, that they're able to understand the concept of the world, the concept of creation, the concept of God. And what happened to this light? The Midrash continues and it says, but when Hashem saw how wicked the world was going to be, and when Adam sinned that very first time, he removed this light from the world and he hid it. And that's what the Midrash says. He hid it and he reserved it for the future. And the rabbis explain, it continues, that there were 36 hours in the world at the beginning of creation that this light existed until Hashem removed it for the future. Once the sun set on after Shabbat, the light went away, and that light disappeared. And that's one of the reasons why we use a candle for Havdalah, to relight the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that relighting with a physical candle in a few moments. The Baal Shem Tov, the beginning master of the Hasidic movement, has a beautiful idea. This writing isn't his own because he never wrote anything down, but his students wrote down his writings. And he asked the question, how could Hashem have taken something so profound, so enormous, if it was such a great light, where does that burst of energy, that burst of wisdom, how can you hide something that's so all-encompassing? And he answers a beautiful idea, and he says, very Hasidic thought, that Hashem took that light and he hid it inside the Torah. That the light, the wisdom, as we explained, the ability to see from one side of the world to the other, is hidden inside the Torah. And any time a person learns Torah, any time a person studies Torah, they have a piece, a glimpse of that little light, which actually makes sense as we start to understand this idea of what that light was. If we look at it just physically, a light to be able to see from one end of the world to the other doesn't work so nicely. But when we think about it from a metaphorical perspective, the wisdom to be able to understand the world and Hashem that was taken away after the first day of creation, or the Shabbos of creation, and it's hidden in the Torah, we start to understand that when you learn Torah and you start to learn more wisdom, you're able to see the light, so to speak. You're able to bring more of that light, that was hidden in the world into the world from the Torah. So how does this connect to our story of Hanukkah? There's a really beautiful idea, again, continuing for a few Hasidic ideas today, but the Bnei Yissaschar, who was a Hasidic thinker quite a few years after the Baal Shem Tov, talks about this idea of the light and how it connects to the menorah and how it connects to our time of Hanukkah. So let's look at it. I'm on the very last source on the second page. And he says that the miracle of the light of the menorah during this month of Kislev is a beautiful idea. And he says that the word Kislev, you can see it in the very first word of that source, Kislev. The word's lev, but not with a vet, so not heart. But Lamed Vav is the gematria of 36, exactly. And this beautiful idea from the Bnei Yissaschar says that the kiss comes from another word, kisei, or to cover over. He says that Kislev is the month where the 36 lights are covered and uncovered. It's a way that the lights are starting to be revealed. And if we think about it, how many candles as a mitzvah do we light on Hanukkah? This is the math challenge. 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5. Anyone? I'll give you a clue. 36. Yeah, you can cheat there. That's good. I had to do the math to make sure, but it does work. And the idea, he says, is that the 36 candles as a mitzvah that are instituted on Hanukkah is to reveal that hidden light that was hidden at the beginning of creation that we only had for 36 hours. When we light the 36 candles of Hanukkah, we start to reveal back that hidden light at the beginning of creation, that hidden light that was hidden in the Torah. He says the most beautiful idea, and he says that these candles, that these ideas that are mentioned in the Torah, it's about a hinting to the first time that that light was there. And that's why we have this beautiful idea that Hanukkah starts in the month of Kislev, and then we're going to move into the month of Teves on Shabbat. And the word Tevet comes from the word Tov, to be good. And this idea of light and goodness and wisdom and Torah all come together, but by the time you get to the second half of Hanukkah, we're starting to reveal more light into the world, more beauty into the world, and we start to bring that ability to go from the covered light to the revealed light as we get into the second month. So there's this idea, and we used this actually yesterday in the high school. There's a beautiful idea, a beautiful pasuk in Mishlei, and it says, Ki ner mitzvah v'torah or. This idea of Torah, this idea of wisdom being compared to light and being compared to candles is historically in our texts, but it's also something we're talking about here. Yesterday we had the most beautiful day with the high school, and we had a Hachnasat Sefer Torah, and one of the things that the students did, each grade was given a word from this pasuk, Ner mitzvah v'Torah or. The 12th graders began, and they were given the word ner, and we asked them to find independently any pasuk in the Torah with the word ner. Likewise for the 11th graders with the word mitzvah, and likewise with the 10th graders for the word Torah, and the 9th graders finished us off with the word or. And they produced the most beautiful mosaic of their pasukim that they picked. Most of them picked words, pasukim that actually meant something to them. But the idea of connecting these words, ner, a candle, and mitzvah, and then later Torah connected to or, we've talked about this idea of that Hashem put the hidden light into the Torah. So how does this realistically come to place in Hanukkah, and how does this work with the ideas that we're talking about, that Hanukkah is supposed to be a little bit more than just the oil and the candles? Where does the revelation of what we're trying to celebrate on Hanukkah actually come into fruition? Because we talked about lighting candles, adding light. It's all very beautiful and esoteric, and we can all smile and say, that's sweet. We have 36 hours and 36 candles, and the word kislev means to cover light, and now teves. It's very beautiful, but practically speaking, we've got this 4 more days of Hanukkah. What actually are we really trying to do with the energies of Hanukkah? What's supposed to be happening? So continues the B'nai Yisachar, and this I think is the key point to everything that we're going to say today. I'm on the third source on the third page, and he says, Al kain karu leyamim ha'eleh Chanukah shehi chinuch. I think this is everything that we're trying to think about today. This line over here, I'll say it again. Al kain karu leyamim ha'eleh Chanukah shehi chinuch. The word Chanukah and the word chinuch are the same word. If you look at the letters, they're the same. Hanukkah is the festival of chinuch, of teaching, of educating. When we think about bringing the children together to light the menorah, it's not just a sweet idea to have each child light their own candle. By doing the lighting together, by each child being a participant, by us doing it as a family, by us putting it in the window and making sure that people see it, it's not just cute. The idea is for chinuch, it's for teaching children. And what are we trying to teach children? It's one thing to teach them to swim, it's one thing to teach them to tie their shoes, but the chinuch, the mitzvah of chinuch, is to teach them the Torah. It's to teach them everything that means the world to us in terms of wisdom. And so he continues, and he says that the idea of Hanukkah and the idea of chinuch is that this is supposed to be a taste of what the future will be like in the world to come. In other words, when Hashem eventually will reveal the whole of that light for us, we're having a taste of it now by that candles, but more importantly, more than what the candles just represent, but what they actually are. That we have chinuch and we have a celebration of the Torah. And through this ability to light a Hanukkah candle, but also learn about it and teach about it, we find that there's a way to reveal that hidden light, that we teach the children what it means and we teach them Torah. In other words, the Torah learning is the central mitzvah, or the central idea to the chinuch of our children on Hanukkah. So practically speaking, what does that mean? Practically speaking, the B'nai Yisachar continues, and he says that the Hanukkah lights are tapping into something very particular. When we talked before about the celebration of what Hanukkah is all about, the lights that the candles that the original Maccabees, Matisyahu, lit in the Beit HaMikdash were a symbol, but it was more important. It was a celebration of the fact that we overcame the Greek tyranny and a freedom to practice our religion as is. And when we think about the mitzvah of putting our candles in the window That really is everything about, it's not just publicizing a miracle, but it's publicizing our freedom to learn Torah, to be proud Jews, to light the candles. And when you see and you walk around your neighborhood, you see some homes have Christmas trees and some homes have Chanukiot. And when you see those Chanukiot, it's not just a symbol of the Greeks, we fought the Greeks and we won and we light a candle. It's so much more than that. It's our ability, and this is the key difference between it's a sweet idea and it's a meaningful idea. We light those candles and we say to our children and we say to our neighbors and we say to the whole world, Judaism is about Torah. Judaism is about halacha. Judaism is about teaching our children. It's not just about eating the donuts and lighting the candles. And with that comes an important focus which we very often forget because we get busy with the actum. Similarly on Pesach, it's not about just eating the matzah, it's about celebrating what the matzah represents. And likewise, when we light those candles, it's not just about lighting the candles. The opportunity in those moments is to say to the children, why do we light the candles? What does this symbolize? What does this represent? And by learning the Torah with them and by uncovering it, the light doesn't have to just be physical. It can also be a wisdom light, a light where we uncover the beauty of the Torah. So how do we do that? I'm over on the last page. There's a very nice Gemara in Shabbos, which I sometimes think I hope to say is like a promise as well. And it says, Rabbi Chuna says, the person who is particular to light Shabbos candles and Hanukkah candles will merit to have children who are Talmidei Chachamim. It doesn't say you'll merit to have just children. It doesn't say that you'll merit to have healthy children or active children or varsity player children. It says Talmidei Chachamim. And the reason why there's a connection between the idea of a Talmid Chacham and the lights of the candles is because our candle light is not supposed to be just oil and just a physical light. The candle light represents so much more. It represents this connection between Torah and light. And the only way that really happens, because magic doesn't happen, you can't just light a candle and then magically your child becomes a Talmid Chacham. If that was the easy way, we'd be all in a very simple, we'd all be lighting candles all over the place, leaving them everywhere and hoping for the best. Why is it that the Gemara promises that if you light candles, Shabbos candles and Hanukkah candles, what's the promise of having a child who's a Talmid Chacham? So I think if we take it just literally, which we're not doing today, sure, you light a candle, it's very nice. But there's more to lighting a candle. What does it mean when you light a Shabbos candle? There's 2 ways to do it. There's probably hundreds of ways to do it. We light the candle, you make a na-na-na, and you get on with your sitting down to try and relax. But imagine a situation where you light the candles, you put the light, you see the flame, and you turn to the child next to you and you say, Good Shabbos. What did you learn this week? What can we learn this week? What are we hoping for this week? What can we thank Hashem for this week? What light did you see this week? Where was the Torah in your week? Let's learn something together. There's 2 ways to do every mitzvah that we're doing. If we just light the candle, I don't know, maybe we'll be lucky. The promise of having children who are Talmidei Chachamim, we might be lucky. If you light the candle. But if you light the candle and you light the candle, not just the physical candle, but the spiritual candle. And you ask the questions, and you ignite the imagination, and you ignite the questions, and you open the Torah, not only necessarily in a book, but even just as a conversation between us and our children, or modeling those conversations between us and our spouses, that we light the candle and we say something beautiful. There's actually the tefillah that a lot of women say, men as well, who light candles. And in that tefillah, what do we say when we light the candles? V'zakeini legadel banim lifnei banim chachamim unevonim. Right? We say that we bless ourselves, that we should have children who are talmidei chachamim. What's the connection between the light? Because the light isn't just a physical light. If you just treat it like a physical light, that's all it is. It's 2 beautiful candles, or however many you light in your home. But if you treat it as a symbol of something deeper, that it's a symbol of the spirituality of the Torah, and we talk about the candles, and we learn about the candles, and we ask our children questions about the candles, then we merit to have the Talmidei Chachamim that we want our children to be. And the same thing happens with Hanukkah. And so we've had half. We were lighting the candles last night in our house, and we always get to that halfway mark, and you're looking, I can't believe it's been 4 days. I can't believe it. And you wonder to yourself, where have the 4 days gone? We wait the whole year for this beautiful, beautiful festival. And I think it's a wonderful thing because each day is really clearly marked. And it means that there's an opportunity. We've had the first 4 days where we're starting to uncover that darkness of Kislev, and we're moving towards Teves. So how do we take the second half of Hanukkah? Tonight we light 5. We're already more light than dark. How do we make that more than physical light, but something into a spiritual light? And in doing that, we have to find a way to uncover not just the physical light, but the spiritual light. And so what do we have to do? There are different ways to do that with your children, but ultimately each family has their own style and their own way. But even when we light the menorah and we sing the songs, that there's a small, beautiful idea that we share with our children, or even better, ask them to share with us. And we say to them, Hanukkah is a time of learning and it's a time of beauty, but not just physical beauty and not just gobbling up the donuts and thinking about the physicality. But we're here because we're celebrating that we're here free to study and lucky to study the Torah, and we're allowed to, and we're proud of it. And even if we're able to share a small thought with our child, one small thought for the night, look at how lucky we are that we can put our menorah in a window and we don't have to worry that maybe someone will break our window because they don't like our lights. How lucky we are to be in a generation where you could be proud to be Jewish, that you can walk down the streets of Surfside on a Sunday and see a parade of Chanukiot going all over the streets with beautiful Jewish music, and we're proud to be Jewish. So I guess my message and my thought for today and for all of us is to think about, when we say that the laws of Hanukkah are very specific about the lights, it's metaphorical. Because if you just, every single person lights a candle, but there's no real Torah, how mahadrin is your mitzvah? The idea of having each person light a candle and each person light more is all symbolic of the idea that the Torah isn't just for one person in the home. The Torah isn't just for one night in the home, and every time we learn Torah, we gain more Torah. So symbolically, what we're saying to our children when we light a candle and they light a candle and we light more candles each day is we're not just physically lighting candles. We're saying to our children, I light a candle, you light a candle, and every day we grow more and we light more candles. And with this idea, we are meriting, as we learn more of the Torah, to get back to that wisdom or that vision that we were able to see from one end of the world to the other at those first 36 hours, that we're able to bring those ideas back. Just by studying glimpses of the Torah, you're able to get a few more of those hours and that vision and that light to be able to see from one side of the experience of vision and wisdom in the world to the other. So I want to wish everybody a Chag Sameach, a Chag Chanukah Sameach. It should be filled with light and laughter and above all, Torah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Stone, for those beautiful words of wisdom, insight, and we always appreciate anytime you can share your light with us. Welcome, everyone, to this beautiful morning. Thank you to our PTA chairs, Susie and Diana, for arranging all of this. I would like to just give a quick reminder to everyone that we are in the midst of our Lead Like a Warrior campaign. As we are halfway through our 8 days of Hanukkah, we have another 4 days that we are working really hard to raise $800,000. As Elchanan mentioned, all of these funds are going towards our scholarship. The Hebrew Academy gives over half of our families receive some form of financial aid. And so I really would like to ask you all to reach out to your family and friends, to reach out to your network, and to really put your efforts into helping us reach our goal of $800,000. There is really nothing better in terms of this money going towards Jewish education, giving every Jewish child who would like to have a Jewish education the opportunity to come to Hebrew Academy would be amazing. And what better way, as Dr. Stone said, to spread the light throughout not only our community, but to the entire Jewish community in the world, and that is to educate all those bright young students who would like to have an education here. So if anybody has any questions about the campaign, please feel free to reach out to Susie Stern, myself, Elchanan, Marjan Katz, who is also our other development chair, to Rabbi Gunberg, to Susie, or to Diana. We can certainly help you. I believe all of the class chats should have had a link posted into your class chats, so you can certainly find it there. Wherever we have announced the information through, I believe, email, online, through your friends in the grades, please reach out to them. We can certainly all help you. And I thank you in advance for your support of our school and wishing you all a Chag Sameach.